Okay, so how can I help you?
Hi. So I grew up in a Muslim family, but now
Okay.
I have other beliefs, so that's why I
So
yeah,
what, you're saying you left Islam, is that what you're saying?
yeah, because I used to like don't feel very at peace, maybe a bit scared, not safe,
Okay.
and then I discovered other spiritualities, like types of spirituality that try to reunite and I don't know if you know what I mean, uh like the ones that reunite, everyone is linked, God is inside everyone, and everyone is connected. So that's more the the where I got to, and basically my family told me I should go up on your channel to maybe ask some questions or stuff. So me, in my opinion, what I want to ask you is like, if
Yeah,
I yeah,
before
tell
that,
me,
before that, I've got some questions for you first.
tell me,
Okay,
tell
so
me.
when you say you're a Muslim, did you actually practice Islam?
No, no, I grew up in a Muslim family. I used to practice, and now I
You
don't
used to pray.
practice. Yeah, yeah,
So
before, yeah.
you know how to pray, you know the details of prayer,
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah,
happened to you.
yeah, yeah.
You
It's
know
just
how
that
many
now in my family, I'm the only one that uh, quote unquote left Islam and practices, and now I'm just I have my own beliefs, but I do see the a lot of common points, and I think me and my family could get along in the spiritual sense. But for them, it's more like, oh my God, you went astray. Not the Sirat al
so
Mustaqim. You know what I mean?
okay, so are what Kurdish or Iranian or something like that, or
No, I was born in Lebanon.
Lebanon? Okay. So you know how many rak'ahs is Fajr?
Yeah, yeah, but I know everything, bro. My father, my grandfather, and all.
Yeah, just
I
can
like
you,
I'm
there's a lot of people who say they're Muslims, but we just
Okay,
try to,
sure, sure, sure. So there's two rak'ah in Fajr.
okay. Do you know the pillars of Iman? You know the
Yeah,
articles
the
of faith?
five.
No, no,
Yeah,
not the pillars of Islam. The articles of faith, the six. You know them?
I'm not sure I know what you're talking about.
So to believe in Allah, to believe in His books.
I mean, yeah, like follow the prophet, his sirat, and
No,
the Quran. The Okay,
no,
no,
no.
maybe I don't know. No, I'm not sure.
Okay, so how long did you practice Islam? Could you just like, you just generally you were born in a Muslim family, just practicing normally, not really doing a
Yeah,
research
and
on
then
Islam is?
yeah, then at a certain age, when I was like 18, 17, 20, all this area, that part of life, I was very depressed, very lonely, and I couldn't find, like, even though I know a lot of stuff about Islam from my family and my upbringing, I
Mhm.
still I didn't feel safe. And there was one episode in my life with my friends, like we had some stuff. I'm not gonna go into details. If you understand what I mean, you understand. And then I felt very not safe. So I'm trying to show you the fact that I didn't feel safe. I felt scared. I felt judged. I felt
Yeah.
a
Okay.
lot of fear, fear in my heart, and I couldn't. Like I was like, I need more. Like it's
Okay.
not enough. I need more. And then
Yeah.
that's all the beliefs I had, the new beliefs I had. I can think with those beliefs, I have a peace of mind, peace of heart.
Okay. So just to confirm, like Lebanon is the most diverse place when it comes to different beliefs. So
Mhm.
there's many people there who would say you're a Muslim and they would believe like all sorts of things. So were you from a specific sect, a specific group, a specific?
All I can tell you is that honestly, my family,
Uh-huh.
from the nuclear one to the extended one, they are 100% all in it. Full. How to say that? Like I'm trying to show you that legit, bro. They went to Hajj, they pray, they do
Okay.
Ramadan.
Are they
They
Shia,
know
Druze? Are they what are they exactly? What are they? Are they a specific sect? Like
the Sunni.
okay. Okay, all right. So okay, right now, what you said when you said you left Islam, you said felt, feel. So everything is about feelings so far. So are you? Let me just confirm. Is the reason you left Islam is because of how you felt? You didn't feel safe. You didn't feel
No, it
accepted.
wasn't.
You didn't...
It wasn't a choice that I. It was just like my state of mind is like I'm not very safe. And then I got introduced. I learned about other beliefs, and slowly I got interested in it, and makes sense to me and all in all. And they talk about the consciousness, the thoughts, how to be detached from thoughts, blah blah blah, all these stuff. And in the end I'm like, okay, this makes sense and I feel very good in it. And so I didn't leave, you know what I mean? There's no action that I did, it's just naturally to me. I was like, I still believe Islam has a lot of truth. And for people, of course my family, first example, for them they feel very like, I'm happy for them that they are good with those beliefs. But in for me, I feel better with my beliefs. And I try to reunite in my family the, like, let's try to show them that we have the same, almost the same beliefs. We both want to be, we will have the same target. We want to go to heaven. Want to be good people. But it's just that I don't practice the same way as you. And for me, it's like there's a mountain. At the top, there's God waiting for us. We're on the base, and you can go anywhere you can to reach the top. Like whatever you start from that side, that side, that side. In the end, I'm happy for
Okay.
whoever, you know what I mean? Each
Yeah.
pathways, I respect it. You
All
have
right.
that pathway, I'm happy for you, you know?
All right. But you just confirmed what I said. You just repeated the word "feel" again a few times. That's what you did, right?
No, yeah, I agree with you, yeah.
Yeah. So it's about how you felt. You felt in a specific way. You didn't feel this was for you. You researched something else. You felt it was for you. You followed it. So it's not that you rationally and logically or reasonably have
Uh,
found reasonable problems or issues with a specific religion, Islam, and then said, you know what, I'm not going to be Muslim anymore.
yeah, no, yeah, I
And
did.
then
It was
and then
both.
and then now it's both. Okay. And did some research and then found evidence is compelling, objective, that what you're following right now is the truth. Therefore, you adopted that compelling objective reasoning and evidence to become whatever you are today, which is you're just talking about Buddhism most of the time. So, was it objective, rational evidence, or was
It
it,
was
as you
both,
said,
both.
as you reiterated, without mentioning any logic at all until I mentioned it, it was feelings and how you felt?
It was both. I'm a very empathetic person, so that's why I speak about feeling and like how I feel. Like, hey, how are you? I'm good. Like, how do you feel? I'm happy. Are you depressed? You know, that's why I'm talking about feelings. But also, of course, there's my reasoning. I think about it. I analyze. There's the logic. So both are involved.
Okay, so where is the reasoning for you to leave Islam?
Sorry, I want to divert. I have for me
No, no,
my
no.
basic.
I would like. We started the
Okay, sorry.
conversation. You started the conversation by saying you used to be a Muslim. You're no longer a Muslim.
Yeah, I was introducing myself to you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So we have to speak about that before anything else. So you
Okay,
have,
sure.
because like we have a claim that we make, and that claim is that no one leaves Islam out of objective reasoning and sincerity. That's a claim that I would make. And for you to show me that this is not the case, you would actually represent me of objective reasoning and evidences that Islam is not true. In which, therefore, then we can even me or other people can think, you know what? Okay, there's a problem here. But so far, you've not done that. So I'm just curious because you said that's also one of the reasons you left. So where is the evidence or the reasoning, the logical reasoning or the evidences that Islam is not true or false that made you leave it, or what was the issue?
Like my answer to this, I don't want to discredit Islam and show you stuff, you know, that's not my goal. My goal, honestly, why I came on this channel is to try to ask you, do you think it's okay? Like, I have a belief, you have a belief, we find the common points, both of us will go back to God, and I'm happy, you're happy. Does that mean that everyone that's looking for a spiritual answer needs to take Islam, or whatever pathway it fits you best? So I mean, if my brothers and sisters in my family, for them they're very happy, you know, with their beliefs, but for me it doesn't work for me and I have other beliefs. But in the end, we're all of us in my family good people. We want to go back to God. We want to treat people well, treat ourselves well. What else? You know what I mean? So that
Okay.
would be my, because I don't want to answer you as, yeah, this one two three Islam, one two three. I don't want to talk negatively. This is not my goal. My goal is in the opposite. I want to join. Like, why not? Islam is not the only truth. It's just a truth that works for many people, and I can see why. It's a beautiful religion, very peaceful, and you surrender to God. I love this. But some other people, I'm trying to show you that conformity sometimes isn't working, in my opinion. Same for school. You can't say school, everyone needs to do this school. No, other people, for example, have ADHD. They need to have other type of alternative schools. I'm giving you that example. So I don't like the idea that only one thing, like, this is it. If you don't do this, you are mistaken. That's what I don't really like about. Like, I would rather to see the common points, like, oh, you're studying French, I'm studying French too, but we don't have the same school. But nice, both. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I think you got my point, right?
I got it from the beginning. Yes. Okay. All right. Anyways, so just to simplify things very easily, you said your goal is X, Y, and Z. You have a goal in this conversation. I have a goal too. So you don't
Sure,
have to stick. You don't have to stick with someone's goal and leave the other person's goal. It's a conversation. So
sure.
when I'm asking you to give these reasoning and evidence, I'm trying to lead you into a very important point, which is it's not about how you feel. But you again tell me how you feel. I feel like it's the best that all of us are okay, all of us are good. We don't believe the truth is based on how you feel and how I feel and how my friends feel. Everyone has some sort of feelings, and these feelings can be incorrect, and we're not abided by following someone's feelings over anyone else's feelings. Now,
Hmm.
the Quran is explicit about Islam being the only truth. Allah says that in chapter 3 of the Quran, verse 19. Inna dina inda Allah al-Islam. The only religion accepted in the sight of Allah is Islam. And he says in verse 85, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Whoever seeks any other religion other than Islam,
He's
it will not be
losing.
accepted. It will not be accepted from him, and he will be among the losers in the afterlife. And this is explicit, clear. That there is
Yeah,
no
yeah. No, no, I know,
hint.
I know
The
that.
Prophet Muhammad عليه الصلاة والسلام, he said, ما سمع بي يهودي ولا نصراني ولم يؤمن بي أو بما أنزلت به إلا دخل النار. That there is no Jew or a Christian that will hear about what I was sent with, and he doesn't believe in me and believe in what I was sent with, except that he enters the fire. So these are explicit references and
Yeah, I know, I
evidences
know.
that says that Islam is the truth. But this is not unique to Islam. Christianity says the same thing. Paul says that salvation is only in the belief in the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Judaism, if you are a Jew, you have to follow the 613 laws
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
get salvation. If you're not, you follow the Noahide laws according to the Orthodox position. Now, this is not just some sort of a unique belief to Islam, but Islam, at least,
No, no, I get you, I get
we
you.
are unapologetic about it. We actually say it the way it is, while other people try to pretend as if they're inclusive of everyone. Now, again, it's not about how you feel and how I feel. It's about it's true. Where
Hmm.
is the evidence that something is true or false? Now, you said I don't want to give you one, two, three, four. I don't know if you even
Yeah,
have.
like the negative. I don't like, like, I
Yeah,
don't
I
want to,
don't.
because I've had these discussions with my family. You know what I mean? Like, I could, but like,
No, no.
I'm.
What's
You want
how
me?
do
Sure,
you
I can. That's
how
what
do
you
you,
want me to
how
tell
do you?
you?
No, no, no. It's not about what I want. It's about making a point here. How do
Okay.
you determine what is right and wrong?
Okay. So, uh, in my personal experience, it was I. It didn't make sense, and my feelings were not how I wanted to them to be. So, the new beliefs that I got made sense and made me feel at peace. Like, I can feel if you kill me now, I'm happy, like I'm at peace.
Okay,
So
so
what is truth or not is what makes sense, and you think about it, you're like, makes sense, and logically too. So both. That's
all
that's my
right,
answer.
all right, all right.
And you have to have a little bit of open-mindedness, as in, what I mean is, like, I know Quran is explicit. I know unapologetic. I know, like, in a way, it's like a package. You can't choose, like, I like this, I don't like this. But what if I can choose, like in my, to, okay, I was trying not to be negative, but okay, I'm gonna tell you. If I read the Quran, I can say what the impression I have is, like, okay, God is judging me. I'm good. I'm bad. I deserve paradise or I go to hell. So imagine if you're someone that's doing bad stuff, you're gonna live with this guilt. Oh my God, I'm gonna burn in hell. Okay, what else? Like there's a lot of, like I feel, let's say God is a parent. I don't want to be do a blasphemy, and astaghfirullah. I'm just showing you an example. Imagine God as a parent, and his approach and how I see it is don't do this, huh? I will hit you. Or you can be more like talking about it, reasoning. I'm not saying that he's only doing that. I'm just showing you. This is one example of what I don't like. It's like this is one, two, three, A, B, C. If you don't follow A, B, C, I'm gonna judge you. You're gonna be in hell. You're gonna burn. You're gonna blah blah. And I feel it's very radical. There's no like open like each time I have a discussion with my family members, it's very close. Like I'm close. I try. I'm close. They are close. There's no like maybe trying to, oh, let's think about it. Maybe, and then I ask them, what is the meaning of consciousness? Can I ask you this question? What is consciousness?
Okay, we don't want to be jumping everywhere from one place to another. We're in the mid of the conversation, right? We're trying to understand one thing before we jump into what consciousness is and complete different discussion. Again, you just reiterated the idea of feeling, and the verses that you brought is all about feelings. It's about I feel okay. I feel judged. It's a feeling. I feel
No, I
God
agree
is
with you. I
he wants
agree
to
with you.
punish people. It's about feelings. The thing is, I'm not here like you know what.
فهمت عليك. I got what you
Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot control someone's feelings. You know, you can feel this way, you can feel that way. What I can do as an individual is to give reasoning and evidences that why something is true or false based on common sense. Now, your position is clearly illogical, and why is it illogical? Is because two contradictory beliefs cannot be true in the same time. If you say everyone has his way to God, now I'm dealing with your belief, yeah, the
Yeah,
belief
the
that
mountain thing.
the
Yeah.
proposition that you put. If everyone has his own belief about God, and we can say everyone is true, that would be logically inconsistent because some people believe, for example, I'll give one basic example.
Mm-hmm.
Christians believe Jesus is God. Muslims believe he's not God, he's a prophet of God. Jews
Mm,
completely reject him as not a prophet of God, as someone who's born of whatever kind of bad words that they would attribute to his mother. So you
mm-hmm.
have three positions now that each of them are contradictory because a prophet is not God and cannot be God by definition. And someone cannot be a prophet and be in the same time a liar who is not a prophet. And we have three contradictory beliefs. If we say everyone is true, everyone is correct, would not make any sense. Now, the Jewish people have
I
certain
see what
beliefs.
you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I can go on and on and give multiple. These are just
Is
three of it.
if you
Now,
want, I got the answer like straight away in my head. If you
okay.
want to be direct with you, I believe in many chances, many lives, reincarnation, not just one. So, and with this point of view in my mind, in my point of view, if you think in this lifetime you think Islam is amazing for you, I'm gonna let you lead that path because I think your soul decided before to incarnate, decided to have this path, to learn the lessons in this path. And in another life, maybe what I don't know what will happen. It's multiple lives. So that's why I don't go and say to my brothers and sisters, oh my God, no, you should believe what I believe. No, in my mind, it's like their souls decided to be Muslims and to go through that and to learn the lessons and blah blah blah. And maybe later, that's what I mean. I don't like to. This is my answer to you, as in they are contradictory. But in my opinion, that Jew person needed the experience to be a Jew in this lifetime. That Christian person, same thing. That Muslim person, same thing. So when we fight about, I have the truth, I have the truth, no, 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 no. First of all, it creates conflicts, like me versus you, instead of uniting. That's first of one. Number one. Number two, it's disrespecting la volonté, or how do you say volonté? The wish of the soul before reincarnating. This is my belief. Of course, maybe I know maybe you don't believe in it, but I'm showing you how I see it. So I respect the path that you took because you're clever enough to have chosen this path to learn this. Or even I'm gonna go very very
Okay, okay.
يعني, sorry, okay, go ahead.
Let's not keep jumping everywhere. Look, what you just said does not respond to what I said in any way, shape, or form. What I said has nothing to do with your personal subjective experience of you being reincarnated as wanting to be this or wanting to be that. My argument has nothing to do with reincarnation. Reincarnation is not going to be a response to it because I'm making another point. My point is in objective reality, outside of me,
But what
Outside of
is
J,
reality?
outside of J, yeah, that's what we're coming to. That's the point that we're coming to, right? Outside of JQ, outside of or JK or whatever the name is,
Sure.
or outside of me, outside of every other human being, there is a universe, there is life, there is existence. I'm saying the point I'm making, God, which created everyone before our existence as human beings, is either Jesus or not Jesus. There's no other option. Now, one of these beliefs have to be true. Now, this is different than you believing it or not. You can believe
You're
whatever you
talking
want.
exactly
You
like
can
my
believe.
brothers and sisters. So I see you know what I mean? I
Okay.
see the,
All right.
I don't know if
For
you
me,
feel
just to
me.
finish,
Sure,
for
sure,
me,
my
just to
bad.
finish what I'm saying, right? So
Sure, sure.
there are someone who can believe God is Jesus. That belief can be right or wrong, It cannot be right and wrong in the same time. So he cannot be Jesus is God and is not God at
No,
the same
no,
time.
I see
So
what
we're
you
talking
mean.
now in objective reality, outside of the person's subjective experience and fuzzy feelings and butterflies in their stomach when they're following something. I'm not interested in that. I'm talking objective reality right now. Is Jesus God or not God? And if he is God or not God, how can we know if he is God or he's not God? Now you're making claims like you believe in reincarnation. What evidence can you produce for reincarnation? Zero. You cannot give any evidence, objective evidence, that reincarnation is an actual thing. And reincarnation itself is problematic because for you to say I'm doing something good or bad in my reincarnation state, for example, to say uniting is a good thing, which is something you believe, how can you prove uniting is a good thing? Where do you get this idea?
Because think about it. If everyone is united, will you see wars? Very simple.
Why is war is wrong? Why is it
Why
problematic?
is war wrong? Because we are the same. We're all the same, and we're killing each other.
I
It's like I'm
disagree
doing
with
this.
you. We're not the same.
I
I'm more intelligent than you. Have higher IQ. This is hypothetical. Just I'm pretending to be a
okay.
bad person, right? So I'll tell you, I have a higher IQ than you. You're not equal
Well,
to
my
me.
answer would
I'm
be
wait,
that.
wait, wait. If you just
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
I'm from the superior race, and I have more IQ than you, and you are inferior to me.
Uh huh.
So why should I not persecute you and take whatever you have for myself because I'm better than you? I'm genetically superior.
Up to you, bro. I don't know. I
Okay,
don't.
so how can you demonstrate that it's wrong?
How can I demonstrate my real answer is I believe we are all consciousness. That means the identity that you identify with, in my opinion, anything you think that's not consciousness would be the ego, the egoic way of thinking.
Again, why is that bad? That's your opinion.
No, I'm not saying bad or good. I'm saying how I see the world because I didn't even tell you my real beliefs. My real belief is there is consciousness and
No,
there
I'm
is
not.
egoic consciousness.
I know your belief, which is you're just describing Buddhism all of this time. I'm
That's
very
not true.
yeah. Maybe yourself you're not aware of what Buddhists believe, but you're just talking about
It's
Buddhism.
very common, but it's
Re,
not.
re,
I'm not
re,
a yani, it's not Buddhist, you know.
Whether you call yourself that or not, this is their beliefs. Reincarnation is a Buddhist concept. The idea of the consciousness and the self and the ego, all of these are Buddhist concepts. You don't
Yeah.
know what you believe is the problem. This is the thing, right? You don't know what you believe, where it's coming from. I'm just telling you where it's coming from.
No, no. I know there's a lot of common points from Buddhism. Of course, I know that.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Anyways, regardless of
So
Buddhism,
you were asking me what's the bad of uniting? Oh,
no,
was it?
I'm asking you how to know. How can you determine what is right and wrong? How can you determine what is good or bad? Anyways, you're just telling me I believe, I feel, and that's subjective, and I don't need to take what you believe and what you feel. How can
Sure.
human beings determine whether something is right or wrong or something is
If
good or
it
bad?
resonates with you or not, because
Sorry.
I believe in frequency. I believe in frequency. I believe everything is energy, and there's frequency. Like
All
you
right.
can resonate with
I'll have to let
something.
you go. I'll have to let you go, JQ, because JK, because we're just going in a circle, right? Whenever I tell you, it's not about how I feel and what you believe. You tell me what you feel and what you believe. So I would recommend like you just think
But I
about that.
mean, the answer you were await from me is I tell you I have this book that says this. How can
No,
I answer you in the way you want?
the
I'm
answer is to give
curious.
me a criteria of how can we determine objectively a rational, logical, consistent criteria of how can we determine the truthfulness or falsehood or good or bad of a specific thing.
If it makes sense or not, I don't know.
It
If
makes
it
sense to
makes
who?
sense
Makes sense to who?
to yourself because you're asking,
Okay, so
and if it makes
if I say your belief makes no sense, then it's false.
Misha, it's false to you, and I respect your opinion, and I'm not gonna try to fight to show you
Again,
that I'm right.
when we're done, I want you to think about that. What is the difference between objective and subjective?
No, I know that.
You keep talking from a subjective point of
I
view.
see what you mean. Yeah, yeah,
Truth is not
yeah, yeah.
subjective.
Sure.
If you don't exist today, the
Okay,
world's still. The world still exists. I'm still here. If you die today, for example, I'm
No,
still
no,
here.
I see it. I
Bunch
swear,
of
I see
human
what
beings
you
are here.
mean.
Okay, and then there is right and wrong. We need to know.
I,
To live,
I
when you
want
say
you to.
war, yeah,
I want you to think when we close about what is reality. What is reality? This is all the people that studies reality, Terence
reality,
McKenna, all these people.
reality,
Because maybe
reality,
in your point of view, though your reality is very like this square. Maybe reality is whoa. You don't even know. Maybe we don't. That's what I'm trying to see. Like you're
look,
talking objective reality. What is reality? What is objective? So it's
reality, reality is that which is real, our existence
what
and
is
everything.
real? If I tell you my hand is real, and I
Would like
tell
me
you
to
actually
answer?
my hand is just quantum stuff moving, vibrating, does that mean my hand is real or it's an illusion of reality?
All right. So
You know, you believe in the soul. You know that our bodies is not real. The soul is the real. So in the end, what is real? Our bodies or the soul, or you know what I mean?
okay. So reality is our existence and everything around us. We exist, we experience, we feel,
Sure,
and
sure.
based on that, there is an existence, and that is reality. And based on that, there is a world around us, and that is reality. Based on that, there is humans around us, and that's what reality is.
Mm-hmm.
Every human being understands what reality is, but because maybe you're confused about it a little bit, perhaps you can think about it a bit. Reality is that which is real. That's the definition of the word. Anyways, I'd recommend you actually do some.
But look, the thing about for me and the Quran is
I
like
have to tell you,
I
I
have
have.
very high questions and I feel they don't answer it. I want to know what is consciousness, what is God, how to know God, what is consciousness. This is the most important question for me. And
All
I
right.
don't find like if you have because my family is telling me to ask you, ask him what is consciousness because they don't know. I asked them, my family, they're like, I don't know. I'm gonna read the Quran and let you know, but you know. So can you please tell me before you let me go, what
All
is
right.
consciousness?
Yeah, okay. If you define consciousness to be the soul, then we don't have a full definition of what the soul is. The soul is of the affairs of Allah. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the
Exactly.
Quran,
Yeah.
يسألونك عن الروح قل الروح من أمر ربي وما
My
أوتيتم
father told me that. Yeah.
من العلم
That
إلا
was
قليلا. And that's not an Islamic belief because even non-Muslims will admit to that. There's something called the hard problem of consciousness in science. They don't even agree on what the definition of consciousness is. So if you're asking me to give you a definition of consciousness, even scientists or humans in general
okay.
do not agree on what consciousness is. Some will define
So
consciousness to be the perception of the self and surroundings, for example. Some people will define consciousness to be something else. Now, you're asking me for something that humans themselves, don't agree about. And that is just affirming what the Quran is saying, is that we don't have full understanding of a consciousness.
okay, and if I need to know more, is it wrong or you know what I mean? I need
But
to dig deeper. That's my goal. I don't
no,
want
no,
to accept like okay, it's for God. You know what I mean?
okay.
How can I help me, brother, about this? I need to know more. Yeah, and I don't accept. It's not enough for me to say okay, it's for Allah. I want to understand. عرفت شو قصدي؟
Well, then that is just irrational. That is just, there's no rationality
ليه؟
behind what you just said, because once we have Allah is the one who gives us knowledge, and knowledge is only derived from Allah Azza wa Jal. He told us that this is the maximum knowledge that you're going to get. He says, وَمَا أُوتِيتُم, and that is in the past. Utitu means until the day of judgment. مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. We've only been given a little bit of knowledge. Whatever that little bit of knowledge is that we have about the consciousness is whatever what we're going to have until the day of judgment. We do not have the tools to understand more. If you don't have the tools to understand more, then you can waste your time trying to understand more when you don't have the tools to understand it, which is just a waste of time. Or you can submit to the fact that you, as a human being, is a limited conscious entity. Just like you're like someone who says, you know what? I agree that my eyesight cannot see behind the wall, but I don't accept it. Still going to try to see behind the wall. We tell you, you're limited in that case. You're not able to see behind the wall. Even if you kept staring at the wall for the next 10,000 years, you're not going to be able to see behind the wall. You
Okay,
must.
so my next question is if Anna I am interested more in diving deeper into the study of consciousness, does that make me a haram guy, يعني كافر, and my family should be sad of me and they should disown me or what? I'm not saying they do that, but like bro من الآخر يعني كل عائلتي بتحكي عربي.
Yeah, I can understand what you're saying. Yes.
What, it's okay if I speak in Arabic?
And it's best. Look, I just have to
I
let
was
you go
gonna
now.
tell you, like my family are all like, "Oh my God, bro, you're lost. Allah yahdik. Oh my God, you're lost. You're lost. Allah yahdik." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I'm happy for you. Let's be happy together." and wow, butterflies, like you say. So that's why my brother told me go on Muslim Lantern and ask him your question, and you answered me exactly the same thing as my father and everyone else told me. And I am not, astaghfirullah, maybe it's a blaspheme to say I want to learn about consciousness, but Anna, I want to know what is consciousness, because I believe we are consciousness. Anyways, I don't want to frustrate you, or if you want to talk to other people, do whatever you want. And thank you so much for your time. And if you have anything else to say, I'm listening to you. Sorry. I'm not ending it. I'm just telling you from my side. Khalas, I stopped.
All right, no problem. We don't say someone is a kafir because he's just investigating consciousness more. We believe consciousness is a part of the human. We believe consciousness is a part of the human being. We're not decision, but it's not fully the human being. You have a body, for example, you have fitra, you have other things that the ulama scholars have actually written books on. This is not something that is like, we'll put you in a dungeon if you ask questions about this. So this is not a correct, it's not a correct kind of view. But in the same time, where we get our beliefs from, which is what I was trying to tell you in this whole conversation, and they are right actually. You might not know that you are confused about your beliefs. It's not about feelings. I can feel like fuzzy feelings. Someone asks me, "Are you a boy or a girl?" I say, "I'm a helicopter," and I'm feeling fuzzy, like I'm flying. Doesn't mean I'm a helicopter now, okay? Unless that exists in the West today, or someone says I'm a wolf,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
in the floor and making noises, that doesn't make you a wolf. Even though it might make you feel happy, it's not about how you feel. There
Yep.
is truth and falsehood in reality. So that's my humble, basic, simple advice. Understand?
Yeah, there's subjective, objective, right?
Exactly. Not everything is
Yeah, I got what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
objective truth, and that's what we need to investigate. And based on the objective truth, we will believe, because that is what the truth is. All right, I'll let you go now. Anyways,
Thank
bye
you
bye.
so much, bro. What's your first name?
Muhammad is Muhammad.
محمد. أنا جاد. شرفنا محمد. شكرا لوقتك.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. And where are you from?
I cannot tell you that. It's
Ah.
high classified information. Anyways, it was nice talking to you. See you.